Hi everyone, my name is Sage and welcome to my channel. I am your Canadian travel nurse and this is my very first YouTube video. So this video, of course, is going to be about travel nursing, and I'm going to start with a little bit of a background of me. I'm originally from Toronto, Ontario, and I got my diploma from Centennial College in the 2-year Flex program. So an RPN is a registered practical nurse in Ontario, and the equivalent is licensed practical nurse, which is over here in BC. The number one question that people ask when they talk about travel nursing is, which company are you with? That's the first question you'll always get. For me, I work with 2 different companies. I work with Staffing Solutions and I work with Goodwill. There are also companies such as McCare, Gifted Hands, Elite, CareCore. Those are others that I've heard that people use, and they're all based out of different areas. Solutions is based out of BC, British Columbia, and Goodwill Staffing is based out of Ontario. McCare, I believe they're based out of Manitoba, and Gifted Hands, I believe, is also Ontario. Elite is also, I think, Manitoba, and CareCore also, I think, is based out of Ontario, and they do more of the east side, so Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, Ontario. Starting with the process, so for Solutions, it was a very lengthy process, but I think part of it is because I took my time to actually do it. With Solutions, you go online, you fill out all the applications, you upload some documents, and then once you complete that process, somebody will contact you for an interview. The interview process for both companies that I've been with are very much more, what is your experience, rather than can you do the job. They'll ask you like, how long have you been doing nursing? What have you been doing in nursing? And then they'll ask you certain situations. I know one of the questions was, what would I find difficult about travel nursing? Once you get through the interview process for Solutions, then they hook you up with a recruiter, which is someone that helps you find your assignments, and then you can start the process of actually searching for where you're going. So with Solutions, they give you a list of places that you can go. They probably have the widest variety of places that you can go. They have a lot of assignments in BC. They have on the island, they have on the lower mainland, they have northern BC, central BC, on the Sunshine Coast, and they also have Alberta, they have Yukon. I've seen Saskatchewan before. Definitely a lot of variety, and this pay scale varies based off of your experience and where you're going. Lowest amount I've seen was probably $37 an hour, and the highest amount I've seen was $65 an hour, and that was the starting base for Alberta. So for me personally, I don't have an Alberta license. I am licensed in Ontario and I have a temp license in BC. That's where I'm working right now. However, in order to get the maximum pay at Solutions, you need to have 5 years experience. So the maximum pay is not $65 for every assignment. Every assignment has a base pay. So like, let's say I wanted to go to the lower mainland. The lower mainland's base pay would be $37. So that's starting with the bare minimum. So like, you need 2 years experience to do travel nursing. So if I only have 2 years worth of experience for travel nursing, I will get that pay. But if I had 5 years, then it would be whatever their scale would be. I guess it would be, usually it's about like up to $3 more, $3.50 more. So that's how they scale what you will be getting. With Goodwill now, I don't really know what they base their pay out of, but I do get paid roughly $10 to $13 more at Goodwill than I do at Solutions. They're a little more conservative about the rates that they give, so they don't really want us to talk about it too much. So I'm not really going to get into it. I'm going to go back to Solutions. When you go on an assignment, they cover your accommodation. If you're flying, they'll pay for your flight. If you're driving, they will typically cover your mileage. And depending on how far the facility is from your accommodation, they will offer to cover your taxi. So when I first went on my assignment for Solutions, they did cover my taxi, not because I was far, but just because I felt uncomfortable walking walking in the dark. It was a kind of bushy area, so like I just didn't feel comfortable walking, and they did cover my taxi for that, which I'm super grateful for. So they're really good with that. Also with Solutions, their overtime is very different from Goodwill. The overtime, you would need to work 160 hours within a 28-day period in order to get any overtime. Whereas Goodwill, if you go over the 40 hours a week, they will just give you the overtime. Or I think if you do over the 8 hours or 12 hours, whatever you're scheduled, then they give you the overtime. So that's a difference. I did have private accommodation when I went with Solutions. So I had my own apartment. It was a 1-bedroom apartment. It was just me. But in the building itself, there was multiple apartments. Some of them were individuals, some of them were shared. Some people were in hotels, some people were in the cabins. The accommodation does vary, but they are pretty good with when you ask them if you want like individual accommodation, which is something I requested, and they did accept that. For Goodwill, I did ask for individual accommodation, but somehow it got lost in translation because I ended up going to another person, and I'm in a 6-bedroom house sharing, which it's okay. I think I still prefer either individual accommodation or not so many people, but it's still not as bad as I thought it would be. Another question is licensing. So like I said, I do have a license in Ontario, and I also have a temp license for BC. So yes, you do need your licensing. So the temp license is free because of the pandemic. However, if you want to get your full license, a lot of the companies will reimburse you on your first assignment. You just do the process, and then they will usually reimburse you the money on your first paycheck. So definitely look into that, and don't limit yourself if you want to go to places like BC or Yukon, because I definitely want to travel elsewhere. But licensing is the number one thing that people think about when they're going outside of a province that they already are licensed in. So I did touch on accommodation, because that's another big thing that everybody talks about is accommodation. But yeah, like I said, accommodation varies per contract. A lot of the accommodation is set up by the facility, so we go off of whatever they give us. I will say for Solutions though, you're more likely to get you're probably more likely to get an assignment if you don't care if you're shared or not. But I find when I was looking for an assignment in the beginning, I was having a difficult time getting assignment where there wasn't a shared accommodation. But I also would say don't be too afraid of the shared accommodation, because it's really not that bad. Obviously sometimes you get like different personalities and stuff, so but like in a bigger house it might be a little more intimidating, but most of the places you're probably sharing with like 1 or 2 other people. It's not really this amount of people. So yeah, that is my experience so far with travel nursing. So one of the things that I really like about travel nursing is that you get to go different places, see different things. So every place that you go, it's a different kind of vibe. So I like with Solutions that you kind of pick where you get to go, or you have more options of where you get to go. So you can kind of plan ahead of time and go in the map and see like all the different things that you can do. But the best part about nursing is the flexibility for me. If I want to take a month off, 2 weeks off, whatever I can in between each assignment. If you are a type of person that gets likes routine and likes to plan ahead, then I would definitely suggest that book your assignments in advance. Some of the girls that I met, they have their assignments booked for like months in advance. Me, I have been on one assignment at a time, girl, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it brings me a lot of anxiety, because that means you have to be extra on top of it with your savings and make sure you pick up a lot of shifts when you are doing one. I have tried getting other assignments while on assignments, but I find like they just never went through for whatever reason. Definitely be open to different companies, be open to different places, and enjoy the experience, because it's a great way to do nursing. It's definitely worth it. So I 100% recommend. So like, are you a travel nurse? Do you do travel nursing? Tell me what your experience is. Leave me a comment below if you have any questions, concerns, what your experience is. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.